not held by the mind, what's going to guarantee the agent in question that there is in fact such an infinite chain of reasons? Or chains of justifications, rather.
What entails that there's infinite justification?
No. What's going to give confidence to the agent that there is such a chain of warrant or justification or probability raising or whatever property you want to be an infinitist about?
Well, they think that if they think that some belief they have is justified, they would just entail that there's an infinite chain.
No, what I'm saying is, why do they have what justification do they have that there is such an infinite series of justification that they just don't have like access to?
That just depends on the semantics for justification.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with semantics. Maybe you want to say something like, if they're already convinced of infinitism, and they're convinced that this belief in question is justified, they're just going to entail that likely there is an infinitude. But what I'm asking is, how would they ever get convinced of infinitism to begin with? Because how would they ever be convinced that there is a belief with a chain of justification that runs ad infinitum?
Whether or not the belief is justified on some probabilistic semantics.
What do you mean by probabilistic semantics? I don't think it's a semantical issue.
It's by justification, it just is talking about subjective probabilities. They think the proposition is more subjectively probable than its negation. And you think that justification is emergent in the sense Klein talks about. It will just yield that, there's going to be some sort of infinite chain of belief supporting it.
Yeah, but you just repeated what I just said. I said, if you already accept infinitism and you think this belief is justified, that's going to entail that you're going to believe that like the chain of reasons, and reasons here is not going to be like a mental unit, it's going to be more, it's going to be some kind of a propositional justification that's going to run ad infinitum. But the question is, how would you ever get convinced of infinitism, given that you can't ever see a demonstration of an infinite chain of justifications?
Why would you have to see a demonstration?
Sorry, what?
Why would you have to see a demonstration?
No, I'm not saying it's a necessary condition to be convinced of the view. I'm saying, how else would you be convinced of the view?
Other than seeing a demonstration?
Yeah, if you can't see a demonstration of the view, why would you adopt the view?
Because it satisfies intuitions you might have about justification.
So you're saying like you might just intuit infinitism?
Yeah, if you believe in the PAA and the PAC that Klein forwards, infinitism just follows.
I don't think that's the case. I think you need more than that, but
Well, no, if you accept both the PAA and the PAC, it's just analytically true that you're left with an infinite series of non-repeating, non-terminating reasons, and that's just what infinitism is.
so you're saying that if you have an intuition about avoiding circularity and avoiding, what was it, like being arbitrary or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that follows, because I think that a foundationalist would say they avoid both of them, and a coherentist says they avoid both of them. So I don't think if you just accept, just to be clear, I think if you accept both of them, the coherentist is going to say that like the principle of avoiding circularity and the principle of, what was it, like not being subjective, not being arbitrary or whatever, is compatible with their view, and the foundation is going to say the same thing. It's just that the infinitist thinks that the conjunction of these two propositions or principles entails infinitism, but that's just gonna beg the question against the foundationalists and the coherentists who accept the same principles. So that's gonna be the first issue. But if we just want to bracket the word here, if just somebody says, I just inherit infinitism, that's like fine and dandy. But when I asked the question, I said, what kind of like an interesting proof, other than just saying like, And here's another question. You can't say you intuit the position under infinitism, because infinitism is an inferentialist point of view, so it doesn't believe in non-inferential justification. So intuition is not going to be a justifier under infinitism. There's no such thing as basic beliefs under infinitism. So that's not even going to work either. But on top of that, I just don't, like when I ask the question, I'm not looking for like cheap answers, like just saying you take it to be an intuition. I'm saying like, how would you get convinced of this belief if being convinced of the belief entails something like you need to see or be demonstrated of such a thing that can't happen?
I mean, there's a lot there. So, as to whether or not it follows, I mean, you might be just defining the principles differently, but it just follows from how Klein defines them. And then you said,
we go by the very way Klein defines them.
How do you think Klein defines the PAA?
I think he takes it to be something like, for all agents and for all beliefs X, if X is justified, then there is a reason for X available to the agent, and there's some other reasons available to the same agents for the reason that's available to the agent. So it's got to be something like, if I believe in X and X is justified to me, then I have a reason for that justification, and for that reason I have a reason for that reason, and that's supposed to like continue onward without that reason given being like stopped at some point, because if it's stopped, it's supposed to be arbitrary. That's how Klein defines it.
Yeah, and then if you think that, okay, and then if you believe in the PAA, presumably we agree that just straightforwardly entails that you don't think there's any termination to the series.
I don't think so. Because
you
let's
think the PAA is compatible with there being a last reason in the series?
Yeah, because think about it this way.
It was just defined as that, not...
Because think about it this way, because there's a distinction between justification and reason, right? So if X is justified, then there is a reason for that justification, and then in turn, there is a reason for that reason, correct?
The Klein just thinks about reasons as like inferences.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine and dandy.
So why would non-inferential justification have anything to do with? That's just affording a different semantics for justification. Why is that interesting?
No, it's not. It's not the different semantics. It's nothing to do with semantics. I'm just trying to. It's not the different semantics. They agree on the semantics. They're just disagreeing whether or not there is such a thing that is non-inferential justification. They're not disagreeing on the semantics. Just saying that nothing falls under the set, given this principle. But here's the question.
Klein semantics literally excludes non-inferential justification.
I don't think it's a semantical thing, but I think this principle here excludes it in a way. If you take reason to be inferential, because what you're saying is if X is justified, there is a reason for X, and that reason in turn is going to have a reason, and that's supposed to continue, and so on. And once you get to a reason that doesn't have a reason, that's supposed to be arbitrary, as ruled out by the principle, correct?
That's just what arbitrary is defined as, yeah.
Now I'm just asking, that's how you understand the principle, correct?
I said yes.
Right. Now, the question that I'm gonna have is something like, under coherentism, if you take the web of, so you understand like how coherentists are gonna have like derivative justification and justification, right?
Yeah, I know how coherentism works, yeah.
Yeah, so the question then is, it just seems like you're gonna have a loop of reasons that's gonna fulfill this principle.
So then the reasons are repeating, and then it's excluded by the PAC.
No, that's fine, but that's what I want to get to the PAC, which is that you're supposed to avoid circularity, but there is no circularity under coherentism. Because
there is under how Klein defines it.
Yeah, but then that's, I think, where it gets kind of tricky. Like, what does it mean? Because here's what I take coherentism.
That the reasons are repeating.
So what I take the reasons to be repeating is something like this. So take something like X is justified. Then in the justificatory ancestry of X, if X justifies something else, whatever that something else is not going to appear in the ancestry of X. That's what I take the PSA to be saying.
Yeah, and that has to do with the reasons repeating in terms of the
But I
content.
don't.
Yeah.
But that's not entailed by coherentism.
Okay, then I just don't know. So you think there's forms of, so just to be clear, you think there's forms of coherentism that are compatible with the PAC being true?
I think most of them are.
Okay.
Unless like you talk about something like a strawman version, because all coherentism is saying, what's saying is what's justified isn't the proposition, it's the web of belief that's justified, and the proposition just kind of gets like a derivative sense of justification by just cohering in the web of belief. So, for example, let me give you an example. What's justified is web 1, let's call it W1,
Uh-huh.
and let's say Z coheres in web 1, then Z is going to cohere in web 1. And so why is Z justified? Z is justified because it is in W1.
Yeah, that's just ruled out by the
But it's
PAC.
not gonna be in the evidentially ancestry of W1 that Z is gonna appear again.
But it is if you understand the evidential ancestry in terms of inference making.
I don't think so. What I just gave is entirely inferential. What did I just say that's not inferential?
I didn't say that what was said there was not inferential.
The only way you could exclude what I just said now is if you take it that it's inbuilt in PAC, that it only applies to single proposition. It can apply to something like web of beliefs. That's the only way you could exclude what I just said now.
Yeah, so if there's a question, say we have the belief, and the belief is that if something coheres with the web, then it's justified. What would the support be for that sort of belief?
Support for the belief
Presumably
that
it's
it
it being
coheres in the
coherent.
web.
Yeah, and you don't think that's, and to be clear, you don't think that's repeating reasons.
No.
Okay.
Because why is, again, let's repeat, why is Z justified? Z is justified because it coheres in W1. But why is W1 justified? It's going to be because of some virtues. It's better than every other alternative web of beliefs. But it's not going to be the case that the reason why W1 is justified, you're going to find in its ancestry Z appearing.
Yeah, but there's a repeating reason.
No.
What's
What's the
that
thing
coheres
that's
with the
being
web of
repeated?
beliefs, confers.
No. Again, let's repeat. Why is Z justified? Let's
Yeah.
just take it step by step. Why is Z justified?
Because it coheres with the web of beliefs.
Right. Z is justified because it coheres in W1. Why is W1 justified?
Because it coheres with the web of beliefs.
No. W1 is justified because amongst the web of beliefs, W1 scores the best by some set of theoretical virtues or whatnot.
But presumably you think that those theoretical virtues are truth conducive. That belief is justified by its coherence with W1. It doesn't have to be that, all, the individual...
No, that's
Wait,
really wrong.
Okay, so on infinitism, on coherentism, you think there's some beliefs which can be justified, or they're not justified by virtue of coherence with the web?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, then I just don't understand that coherence is through your forwarding.
No, but here's the thing. Here's what you don't understand. Like, just take something like the laws of logic, or the laws of mathematics, or the theoretical virtues. Here's one view. Here's like a Wittgensteinian view of coherentism that you can hold. You can hold these things, which you could hold to be the preconditions of justifications.
Yeah.
Just like what law is to legality, these things would be to justification. So it'd be a category error to say these things are justified. But given these things is what you're gonna discriminate between different webs of beliefs. But given that your discrimination of the web of belief, the best of the web of beliefs, whatever propositions cohere in that web of beliefs are gonna be what's like derivatively justified. Now given this view, there is not gonna be in the ancestry of the belief the very same proposition that was just justified.
How is that any different from...
And this is a very popular view of coherentism. This is like how Quine took coherentism. This is Wittgenstein's view. This is a very popular view of coherentism.
Yeah, so then you're saying that there's beliefs in the background, and that those beliefs in the background It's like sort of a category to say they're justified
Yeah,
because
they're a
they're the properties
precondition
that
for
confer justification.
justification. That's correct. It's like saying the law
Yeah,
is legal. It wouldn't make any sense.
and then so on, and
Le-
then so on. So then on this view, there's not a reason in the strict sense that Klein is talking about for accepting the foundations. Then it just violates PAA.
No, it's not going to violate PAA because look, what is PAA again? It's avoiding arbitrariness. But here's the thing. In the PAA, he's talking about reason. But reason there is going to be understood epistemically.
It's going to be understood as an inference. Klein is an inferentialist about epistemic reasons.
That's correct. But the
Yeah.
hinges, the background things are not epistemic reasons for adopting the beliefs. Rather, they're the criterias for beliefs.
I'm not saying that the hinges are epistemic reasons. I'm saying that there's not a reason to believe in the hinges, so it just violates the PAA.
So what you're saying is, when you want to say something like, do you want
That
to
it
say
violates if you think that there's
yeah,
you
you
think
want to
there's
say something
beliefs.
like, you want to say
Yeah.
something like, if you take the background beliefs to be the preconditions for what is justified and also justified, that's going to be incompatible with the PAA because the PAA is gonna entail like anything involved is going to be justified.
That's right.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that reading of the PAA.
The reading of the PAA that says that there is no sort of end in the chain. That's the only reading I'm giving.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that reading. I don't think Klein takes, because all I take the PAA to be saying is that you can't hold something to be justified absence of a inferential reason.
Just look in the side chat and look at the last part of the sentence.
Yeah, for all propositions X, if X is warranted for, well, I don't like the word warranted there. You probably mean justified.
This is a quote from Klein.
Yeah, but I don't like that use
And
words.
notice at the end it says, and there is no last reason in the series.
For all propositions X, if X is warranted for a person F at T, then there is some reason R1 available for S for X at T, and there is some reason 2 available to S for R1 at T, etc. And there is no last reason in the series. Yeah, this is compatible with what I just said.
Do you think that there's some further reason from the hinges?
The hinges wouldn't be reasons, because reasons here would be understood epistemically.
I'm just saying there's no inference for the hinges.
No, I'm saying that the hinges wouldn't be reasons. So for example, let me give you an example.
I agree the hinges aren't inferences.
No, let me just give you an example. Yeah, let's say you have like all these webs of beliefs, correct?
Yeah.
Right. The hinges would allow you to discriminate between them, but the hinges aren't like justified or what he calls reasons or anything, but they're nevertheless, they're the pre-rules by in which you engage in, they could be thought of as like norms by which you engage in a rational inquiry. And those are going to allow you to decide, for example, W2 over the other worldviews. And once you accept W2, whatever propositions cohere in W2 are going to be the ones that's going to be justified. Now, I don't see how this is incompatible with what you just gave of PAA.
Yeah, if the hinges aren't justified.
Let's just take Z coheres in W2. Why is Z justified? The reason for Z is going to be that it coheres in W2. But if you say, okay, what's the reason for W2? It doesn't have a reason. So it doesn't have a reason that terminates in the series. But perhaps you want to say something like, in virtue of W2 not having a reason, W2 is the reason that terminates. You might want to say something like that.
Yeah, if there's no inference for the hinges, that's the last reason in the series.
Yeah,
or
but
there is the last reason. Or if there are hinges, there is the last reason in the series.
Now, what I'm saying is, it's not that the reason will terminate the hinges. You might want to say something like, if the hinges give you preference for one web of belief over the other web of belief, and it's in virtue of cohering with the web of belief, where you pick one proposition over another proposition, what you could say is one possible reading is that the web of belief is the reason for the proposition, But the word of belief doesn't have a reason for why you accept it, right? It has a hinge that is a non-reason. But given that it doesn't have a reason, it is the terminating reason, whereas the PAA rules out there being terminating reasons. You might want to say something like that.
Do you disagree with the conditional I wrote?
So if there are hinges in a chain of justifications, no, I don't agree with that. But I gave you a way of understanding the PAA in a way that would rule out what I just said.
Yeah, I think I take that understanding.
Yeah, so
I
it's
take
gonna.
I take the understanding that rules out hinges.
Yes, I don't know if I agree with that, but if that's the principle you take, then under that understanding, I think it's going to be incompatible with the PAA.
Okay.
But then the reason is like, what? How could you ever accept such a principle under infinitism?
How could an infinitist accept the PAA?
Yeah,
So that's something like it just seems to fit the concept of justification.
no. What would be the reason for the PAA?
There's an infinite chain of reasons.
No, what would be the first reason for PAA?
My introspection is reliable.
Yeah, you're
I reliably
reliable.
I reliably introspect that. You know, that's my concept of justification.
Wait, but how is that entail the PAA?
I don't take the PAA to be forwarding anything substantive.
I don't know what that. Now you kind of lost me. Are you trying to say something like you intuit PAA and your intuitions are reliable? That's going to entail the PAA or something, or it's going to make the PAA highly likely or something.
The PAA just has to do with my concept of justification. It just has whatever parameters that we'd call the PAA, and there's none further stored.
Yeah, that part I'm not understanding. I thought you were
Okay.
trying to. I thought what you were saying is like you have an intuition, but it's still inferentially justified by.
Venus PC makes you a phenomenal conservative.
No, I think PC is like retarded, but
No, I think that anything that says PC is retarded is self-defeating, and if is retarded.
I just sent you like a paper refuting Michael Hume.
Oh, I'm Michael Human has responded to that paper, motherfucker.
Okay, which paper has Michael Hume responded to that then?
Why is this
Oh, you
manga
want me
with
to
you?
send it to you, motherfucker?
He didn't send it to me.
I'm gonna send it to you. Okay,
What was the guy-
one-on-one.
what was the paper? What was the-
Okay, let me go with you one-on-one phenomenal. Okay, so you
Wait, Venus, are you thinking about? Wait, Venus, are you thinking of Oliveira's paper?
Sorry, am I thinking about what?
Oliveira's paper on PC.
Sorry, sorry, I have music in the background. One more time?
Are you thinking about Oliveira's paper on PC?
No, no,
What-
no.
Oh, okay.
Okay, me and you this one-on-one PC, right? Okay, so you think that PC is self-defeating?
The what?
So you're making the claim that phenomenal conservatism is irrational because it's self-defeating.
No, why would I? No, I like Cupsick. I just think he's trolling now, but I don't think there's anything wrong
You
with
just
that.
made that claim that PC is a self-defeating position, right?
I've never made that claim. When did I make that claim?
What you said it's a retarded position. I mean,
Yeah, but real quick, Venus, I do have to go. Maybe we can continue this another time.
Calling it to the sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying I have to go, but we can continue this another time.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm pretty interested in the because it seems like you just wanna. I guess the trick is like to get like a cheap route to the two principles, and then just saying, well, given I believe in this, I'm gonna believe there's like an infinite chain. Though at like some point, I'm just gonna fail at like giving you like a further reason. I think that's like the strategy you're gonna be pursuing.
okay, yes, 1v1 me and you.
About what? Are you like
Phenomenal
drunk right now?
About phenomenal, of course I am, but about phenomenal
Yeah.
conservatism. I mean, you're drunk. We're both drunk. About phenomenal.
He's so easy, man.
No, I'm like stable drunk. You're
No, I'm
Stop
saying
running
fanatic.
away. Stop
Fanatic,
running away.
fanatic is so fanatic.
I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Why are you running away? Why are you running away? Venus ran away.
Who's are you over?
You know, he says he's gonna be right back. Oh no.
Blue's already aware.
This is going to be the easiest conversation to make Venus